So first thing we're going to do is we're going to introduce ourselves to you. I'll start. My name is Laura. I'm the teen librarian here at Gallatin Public Library. You may have seen me around. If not, then I am. Come see me. And we're here to talk to you about anime, and we'll just continue going down the line here.
And my name's Kaylin. I also work at the Gallatin Library as a clerk.
Oh, I'm Emmy. I'm a kind of local cosplayer. I'm kind of the leader of Sunset Dash, which is a dance cover group, and we go to a lot of cons and stuff. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Nova, and I'm a part of Sunset Dash. Yay!
Yeah. She is amazing. She's a great artist.
Yes.
Buy her
Yes,
stickers. Just kidding. I'm not
No,
going
do
to
it
do
because
so.
you will not regret it there. So.
Seriously though, buy
Kidding, I'm
stickers.
kidding.
I still have $14 left. I can go buy some.
And now that we've embarrassed you, Xavier, you want to go?
Hi, I'm Xavier. I'm a longtime patron here at the public library, and I'm also the summer intern this year.
All right. So, anybody in the crowd not know what anime is?
I don't.
I think everybody.
Because otherwise.
All right. So we can skip our first question since everybody knows what it is. So I guess my first question for you guys is, what got you interested in anime to start?
Do you want to start from the back and go like,
Yeah.
like this way and that way?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah, you guys want to do.
Spotlight's on you.
Yeah, go. Go.
I get the first question, the first one. So I guess what got me interested in anime is just kind of watching the art style and comparing it to what you would normally watch on TV compared to regular cartoons. And I guess it's kind of what they do and what's different that I really began to enjoy it. And so then I started to watch it more and more.
For me, my dad actually liked it, and so when I was little, he had some stuff on VHS, and we would watch it together. So.
Aww.
Well, in my case, it wasn't that case, but it was more like my friends watched it, and so it's really interesting because like my friends actually recommended me manga first and then told me to watch animes, and so like I started out reading manga first and then watching anime, but what kind of drew me in about anime is just like the story details and like the character development. Like usually like whenever I watch anime, the thing that I pay attention most is like the writing style and like how they develop the plot and stuff, because like I'm a creative writing minor, so of course like I think of like all this stuff, and like I'm a huge writer, so like whenever I watch it, I kind of like, if it's like really good, a lot of times I'll like continue to watch it, and that's kind of what kind of drew me in, so yeah.
Kaylin?
I wasn't into anime at first, but I had two older sisters. Well, it wasn't allowed at my house then. But I had two older sisters that were babysitting me, and they're huge into Pokemon and Sailor Moon.
Oh yeah.
And that's what got me into it. I also love the storylines and the colorful characters and the music. Oh my gosh.
Especially Sailor Moon.
Oh my gosh, it gets stuck in your head for weeks.
I'm still singing the theme song from the live action that I showed you guys
I still get
today.
Pokemon raps stuck in my head.
I've been watching Sailor Moon Crystal, and every day I'm just like, Moon of Pride.
For me, I'm like ancient. I'm the oldest person on this panel. So I got interested in anime basically because of the internet. Like,
Yeah,
I
internet.
remember life before the internet, and so when that came about, it really opened up like a globalization kind of thing where you could actually get exposed to different cultures and different things. And so I chatted with a lot of people online, and they were like, "Oh, you should check this out. You should check this out." And so that's how I got started watching anime. Because I'm 100. But anyway.
Far from.
So the first anime that I ever watched is probably, oh gosh, I'm like blanking. I mean, if you don't count Pokemon, it was probably Full Metal Alchemist.
Oh, that's a good one.
The originals?
Yeah, the
Oh,
original.
bummer.
Yeah, it's a real bummer. Yeah.
It's
Inuyasha is really good. That was another early one that I watched.
My best friend's older
That's the
sister
third one I
growing up really liked that one.
Somehow I managed to keep watching anime even though Full Metal Alchemist was my first one. I was like, oh god, this is heartbreaking. What about you, Caitlin? What was your first one?
My very first one was Oral High School Host Club.
That was my second one. That one was so
My
good.
second one was Black Butler.
Ooh, that was my favorite.
As a kid, like if you really want to count my very first anime as a kid, it's Pokemon. I had to watch all of it Saturday night, like, so I kept watching the one.
Understandable. Now, if we're getting really technical here, my first ever anime was the very original Teen Titans.
Oh,
Not
yeah.
the Teen Titans Go, but the original one. How many of you guys have seen the original Teen Titans?
Yeah.
It was my all-time favorite. My best friend and I, we would actually, I'm not afraid to embarrass myself, we would actually pretend that we were superheroes all the time and that we were part of Teen Titans. It was the best thing ever. Like, it was great. But if we're getting that technical, but since we're going with like actual like anime, my first one was Fruits Basket. Because my best friend, she recommended me the manga, and I read the first volume, and I was just like, is there a show about this? And she was like, well, of course there's a show about this. And so I actually watched the subbed first, because my friend was just like, you gotta watch the sub, it's really great. And then we watched the dubbed, and I absolutely loved it. And then my second one was Oran, and then my third one was Black Butler. So,
Oran and Black Butler are a staple.
oh yeah.
Oh, really? That makes me kind of. My first anime was like a 1970s anime. It's called
It's good.
Space Battleship Yamato, or Star Blazers in English. So that was my first one. I don't know after that, because like I watched Pokemon, Sailor Moon, and Cardcaptors like when I was little. So I'm just going to go with my very first one.
Nice.
Okay, well, my first anime, being on the safe side because that was so long ago, my first anime that I watched was Dragon Ball Z, and it was just kind of one of those things that you would wake up Saturday mornings and then you would just be flipping through the channels and then, wow, you have something on, let's watch this. And then once you start watching it, it's kind of one of those things that you would get sucked into because you want to see how it goes and how it ends because the episodes just about always leave off in a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Definitely.
That's how it was with me in Pokemon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
3 o'clock every day after school. So it was like, all right,
I remember
my
having,
sister's
like,
watching
season on
Zoom in the
cassette.
other room, I'm watching Pokemon over here.
I think they still have the Jigglypuff episode on cassette. I looked really hard.
And the first episode on cassette. And the Cerulean City episode on cassette.
And Pokemon 2000, I still have on.
I remember crying during because I was so upset and my cousin made fun of me for it.
Oh,
I was
real
crying.
talk. Kaylin and I went to go see Pokemon.
Yeah.
I Choose You in
In the
Upper
theater.
Hills in a theater, and I was sitting there just like
Crying, and the Pokemon died, and
I
then
think I
Pikachu
embarrassed her
talked.
half to death because I cried.
Wait, you mean Pikachu?
Sensitive.
Oh, I was
Yeah.
crying.
No, Pikachu
Oh,
speaks
yeah,
human in that
he
movie.
did.
Yeah, and it's like I don't know, it really got to me.
The question is,
Pokemon's
I think
sorry,
I
boy.
the question is, was Pikachu voiced by Vic Mignogna? Because he tends to voice everyone in the anime.
You're right.
Very, very true. So I have a question on here. That's what series would you recommend for a beginner? But I don't think that we're beginners in here. So just do you have any general recommendations?
Or on.
Yeah.
I'll recommend Fairy Tail.
Oh,
I've heard
Fairy Tail is
It's
really
my
good.
favorite anime.
Fairy Tail is really good.
Yeah. One series that I recommend is Space Battleship Yamato 2199 if you like Voltron and Star Wars.
Yeah, it's
No,
pretty
but
much,
it's actually-
kind of like when over here when we had Star Wars, Japan had Space Battleship Yamato. It's not the same thing, but it's a lot like it. It's pretty much it's in the year 2199, and the Earth is pretty much being bombarded by these.
Gamulons.
Well-
Well, they're like
Well, no, it's not just
Disaster
that, but
meteors.
they have. Yeah, it's kind of like a radioactive bomb that they keep sending off to Earth, so everyone's had to move underground. And so, because of this, they've got to do something. Well, this alien from a planet called Iskandar sends a message, and it's like, here, I can help you, but you have to come to us. So, these people have a year to go to this planet and back, and it's really interesting.
yeah,
It's really good.
it's a really good show. Like I was honestly surprised about it because I grew up on like Star Wars and Star Trek and even Battlestar Galactica. So like whenever I was watching it, I was just like, wow, I can see like so many parallels in it.
And
But-
this was made in the 70s, so
Yeah,
it's kind
it
of
was
like a lot
like-
of this was before a lot of this
Yeah,
stuff, so it's like, huh.
Yeah, it was like before everything, and like it's interesting because like there's some stuff in there that actually parallels a lot of these space animes too. Like there was one episode about like there's a kind of a ghost on the ship,
Oh, there's a
but it's
ghost.
also kind of like how like in Voltron, the new season, there's like a ghost on their
Actually,
ship. So
it's not really new anymore. We're just
well,
behind.
yeah, we're just behind. Yeah, well, not new. Yeah, we're way behind. Sorry, you guys. Excuse me. The first season, they thought that there was a ghost on the ship, so it kind of like parallels a lot of the common like space anime stuff that you see, which is like also really interesting, and like the art style is definitely like beautiful.
Especially
like,
the 70s version.
Oh yeah,
It's
the 70s version is so great.
I like it.
You can see the lines and everything.
No, it's
No, I'm
way
joking.
different. Like if you, the guy who does it, you can tell all his stuff, so it's really neat.
But yeah, Space Battleship Yamato 2199 is good. If you really want to get really philosophical, Neon Genesis Evangelion's a good one too.
If
So-
Space Battleship Yamato wasn't made, then he wouldn't be actually
Oh, yeah,
making his
true.
stuff because he was so inspired by that anime.
Yeah. But also Princess Jellyfish.
Yes. I hate how it just ends. It just ends.
Read the manga.
The manga's
keeps
better.
going.
I know.
I got all of it out there now. Like,
Oh.
so
Same
it's
thing for
complete
On,
outside.
honestly.
Yeah.
There's so
We
much
started
there.
playing on the live action
It
though.
said kiss, kiss, fall in love, not hug it out and jump off of it. Exactly. That's not what happened in the anime. It
Well,
happened
see-
at an airport.
Yeah.
And then it continues on from there. They need to
Oh yeah,
do
like I highly
do it right.
Yeah, I highly recommend reading the Oran manga because like if you're not very satisfied with the ending of season 1 of the Oran anime, I highly recommend the manga. Don't watch the live action.
Or
it's
on it
terrible.
from out into
The live action I like reading. I will read the manga and watch the anime and then I'll see what the difference is. I
Yeah.
always watch it first and then read it. But if
Yeah.
I can't have any access to watch it, then I'll read it first.
Yeah.
I have a habit of doing that. I'll read it and then I'll watch the episode.
Yeah.
I'll point out every single difference.
Well, see, that's how I was with one anime called Magi, the Labyrinth of Magic. That's another really good one too. Sorry, I'm like full recommendations. It's my job. I recommend people books like all day, every day. So I apologize.
It's
But,
So good.
It's
Ma-
fine. I do that too with games.
But yeah, Magi, the Kingdom of Magic's a really good one, and the manga actually ended, but it's very interesting because like the character growth in there is what really drew me in. Because there was one character in there, his name is Alibaba, and he's like supposed to be a prince, but he's been kind of like exiled, I guess, in a sense. But like you kind of see him grow into more of like, oh well, I mean, I'm not just like this exile. Like I can do so much. Like I can do all this like really cool stuff, and like I'm really compassionate, and I want to help everyone. And so it's just really interesting to see his character growth, especially in the manga, because like now he's like older and like ready to be king and ready to be like I'm gonna take down everything bad in the world and make it good. But it also brings into question like what defines really good and like what defines like true evil in the manga. So it's like really interesting. It's a really good show. It's basically like Harry Potter and Arabian Nights had a child. So,
I swear I saw something that reminds me. When you said the fluidity of good and evil, I remember coming here one day and there was something
Well, we
related
were
to
talking
that.
about Nimona, and that's where we talked about
That's
the fluidity of good and evil, like who's really the villain, who's
Yeah.
really the good guy, because you don't really know. I mean, you kind of cheer for certain people, but it's a very serious gray area. So that's what you're talking about.
Did you
Yeah,
have a
that's
question?
totally
yeah.
So basically, it's kind of like Avengers Civil War. You don't know which one's good or evil.
Basically, in a sense, but it's a really good show. Highly recommend it.
Awesome. Any other recommendations? No? All right. This is a really mean question, and I apologize, but what's your favorite anime series?
You don't ask people
It's
that.
so mean. I did
Fairy
know it.
tale.
I'm so sorry.
Space
So
Battleship
pick your
Yamato.
favorite child.
I still say it's fairy tale.
I'm honestly,
Fairy tale.
I'm honestly having a hard time even thinking of which one's my favorite because I love Space Battleship Yamato 2199. But at the same time, Oran was like my first ever anime, my first ever manga that I really completed. So it's just kind of like,
I think that's my favorite as
Yeah.
well, just because of that reason.
and also like Kamiki has such great character growth too. Like I could do a whole entire TED talk on like one whole character growth in Oran.
I was more of a
So-
Kaoru person.
Yes, and the twins had
He was
so
my favorite.
much good character growth. Just, I could go
So
on about the
mature,
twins.
precious, and other than Honey.
Yeah.
Maybe if that question was based on genre, you could
True.
do it
That is
better.
I don't know. I do have a very, like, my absolute favorite is Princess Jellyfish.
Oh, it's such a good one though.
Like, Gabby's rolling her eyes. Like, Gabby doesn't really watch anime, and I've talked to her at length like, she's like Laura Schletter
I
about Princess
appreciate
Jelly.
your love of it.
Wow. It's okay, that's how my
Stop
parents are
spewing
too.
my love of that series. Like, it's
Such a
just
sweet
my
series.
favorite.
It is really good.
I like
really
other
good. I need to
ones, but
finish
that
it.
one, I think it's because I relate to Tsukiki so
Aw.
much. I'm like such a nerd, and
Oh,
I'm
no,
like,
no,
yeah.
okay, when you said that,
I get a little
my mind just went to
obsessive.
Doki Literature Club.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Caleb, what's your favorite? After you said.
Other than Oron, Pokemon.
Yeah, Pokemon.
And it's still going, so I'm pretty happy about that.
Nice.
I only have one complaint with the newest seasons.
Yeah.
I don't like the style.
I don't mind it.
The drawing style is not what I'm used to. I watched that since I'm used to their
It is
original
different.
style.
It is a little different than the other Pokemons we've watched. I still
love
like
it.
the first generation, second
But their
generation
story,
of the
but
shows.
the story's still the same, and I like that. I just don't like the drawing style. That's my only complaint.
I love the
The
drawing
only thing that bothers
style.
me with it is that Ash
It's
has like
fun.
brown eyes now instead of just like the black.
That's the only thing that bothers me.
Yeah,
That's
I
the
was
only
like-
little thing that bothers me.
Like that's
That's
really
it.
the only thing. I was like, it just doesn't look right to me.
James seems to have more hair too. I want to know what product he uses. Please get more hair.
Don't forget.
I actually.
Meowth actually looks pretty cool though. But I also like the new Meowth. Okay.
I do like the new Meow.
Yes.
And
The
then
new
lots
Meowth just looks sassy.
Yeah.
And the Meowths down in that region just looks sassy.
Anybody have any other favorites to shout out?
I was gonna. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
My favorite anime, me having seen these questions already, I had started to deduce, even though I really didn't like to do it. I started to try to think of my favorite anime, and I would have to say it's Tokyo Ghoul, because it goes from him trying to live a normal life to him having to deal with what he's going through now with what he now becomes, and it's just really well done.
Tokyo Ghoul's kind of creepy.
But I do love his mask.
But is it?
The art style is definitely very unique too, because like I watched the first season. I haven't read the manga yet, and
Manga's pretty good.
I heard the manga
It's
is better.
The
Like,
first
I didn't
season
get
is
one.
awful because they had a new studio come in and finish it, and that's what made it
Yeah.
technically become a season 2.
Yeah, well,
And I really didn't like what
It
they
was
did
awful.
compared to what
Like,
they
I
did in
couldn't
the
even
manga.
watch it. I hated it. I just kept
I
reading.
only read it.
Yeah, I watched it all the way through, and I really didn't like his decision.
No,
and then I
it
went
didn't make
back and I
sense.
read the manga, and I was like, why did I go and finish watching
Right?
this
Yeah.
garbage
Yeah,
that they went
couldn't-
and made?
I couldn't do it because I had read the manga first. Well, I watched I read the manga before the anime was out.
I think so because I remember us talking about it
Yeah.
moons ago. So
Do you have to read the manga to watch Read? Because I was like really confused.
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's a like direct continuation.
When you, because the anime, because it was done by a different studio, they went and they did their own separate course line, and so you have to read the manga if you want to understand what's going on in Read, because it's based on the manga rather than what the other studio went and did.
okay, yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, I researched that because I was not having it.
Yeah, relatable. Yeah, I was gonna say, I was actually looking at the question, you said series, so I was just like, technically Oron's like standalone and forever ended. So I'm gonna say, retract my statement and say my favorite is probably D. Grayman. So,
I cannot
for a
believe
favorite
Love Live
series.
hasn't come up once.
I mean, I love Love Live, but
Yeah,
I love Love Live, but at the same time, this is a serious question, and I have
Yeah,
to think
you're right.
very deeply about this. So,
It's a big deal.
but yeah, D. Grayman's really good.
Oh, I know one that would make a lot of people mad.
Hmm.
Only 2 episodes. Dragon Half. And it's so good!
I haven't heard about
Never even heard of it.
All right, you guys
I
have any
think one of my
favorite
favorite
characters?
animes is Attack on Titans.
That makes me happy because I'm worried. I'm
I know, that's why I
Sorry.
mentioned it. It's from the Saber Corps or something. The Scouts.
Yes,
Oh, Scotty.
it's the Scouts.
Nice. Do you guys have any favorite characters you want to talk about?
oh boy.
That's another really loaded question.
It's also one of those, who's your favorite child?
Yeah, really.
I have a
But
lot
this
of
time
favorite
it's actually a
children.
human being that we're talking about.
It
in
doesn't
an
even have to
anime.
be though. It could be a creature or something too.
It could
That's
be.
true. Do you want to go down in line?
I'm
well,
thinking. Yeah, I'm thinking. It's like, well, obviously Tsukimi from Princess Jellyfish, and yes, I'm talking about that. But I also super love Team Rocket.
They're my favorite.
They're so ridiculous and fun. And
James
yeah.
is best rocket.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
Several of us.
3.
Oh,
Yeah, you
yeah.
gotta
Does he
count.
count?
Yes.
He's a, yeah, I guess.
Are you still thinking about characters?
Well, once again, me having seen these questions before, I had to do the same thing. Still really didn't like this.
There's just so many
but
though.
Yeah.
it's, sometimes whenever somebody asks you a question like that, you just kind of have to really sit there and think about it. And so I ended up going with a character from Tokyo Ghoul, and it's actually the main character's name is Ken Kaneki, which is
Yeah.
who all of this happens to, because he goes, like I said, he goes from living a normal life to having to adjust to the life that he now has, being a ghoul. And then he goes through so much, and he ends up doing things to try to make the rest of Japan a better place in a sense. But at the same time, he's also doing them, and it's making him seem worse. But that's always the way that some people see them, is if you do something good, then you are seen bad for some of the actions that you took in doing it.
I never really seen Tokyo Ghoul. I've only seen a fight scene.
Which fight
Oh, which
scene?
one would Jason?
I don't know. It was.
Because that gets me hyped every
I just
time.
Yes.
I just watched the top 10 fight scenes in anime, and one was popped up, and he said he was going to eat a guy,
That's-
Sugiyama?
and like,
That's most likely Jason. or
and when he
Sugiyama.
kicked somebody's leg, he broke his leg and he went back to normal.
Okay, then
Wait, did that happen with Sugiyama or?
I want to say that was Jason, because Jason was his first fight whenever he finally accepted that he was a
Yeah.
ghoul, and he had finally been able to use his powers at full strength. But he also decided that he was, in doing this, that he was still going to try to be as human as possible. And he ultimately, whenever he goes into battles after that point, he becomes crazed.
And
So
hit
he
someone.
does just about whatever he needs to do, even if that means getting parts of his body destroyed, and then having to get them back.
So basically, he's like an anti-hero.
They actually, yeah.
Maybe
I
like
guess
Shadow.
you can call it an anti-hero.
Or maybe he's like
Like
Shadow.
Deadpool or
Sort of became a neutral character afterwards.
I mean, it's another one of those kind of like shows and mangas that's really morally gray.
Yeah.
It's like you really have to kind of, it really makes you kind of question like what is right and wrong. Like
Yeah.
you can see, it's like, is it okay doing the wrong thing for the right reason? Which is a really deep question to think about.
It's interesting because a lot of anime does that too.
Yeah.
Because like even with Sailor Moon, like I've been watching Sailor Moon Crystal because
Yeah.
I was never exposed to Sailor Moon as a kid, so I'm like just now catching up to it. And like in Sailor Moon Crystal, there's just like how many of you guys seen it? Majority of you guys have seen Sailor Moon. Anyways,
I
there's
haven't
a
seen Crystal, but I've
Okay.
seen
I
others.
never heard
well,
of it.
like there's this group called the Black Moon, and they like
Wait, is this when the young version, the different dimension of?
yeah, whenever
Okay, I've read a bit of that, so I know what you're talking
I mean, it
about.
might be a little bit different in Crystal, I don't know. But basically, there's this group called the Black Moon, and they end up getting exiled to this planet called Nemesis because they want to kind of bring chaos into Crystal Tokyo. But Serenity is just, Princess Serenity is just not having it. She was just like, I don't want this. And so, like, she exiles them. So it's kind of like their actions are kind of influenced by their desire for revenge, but at the same time, it brings to question, like, you can have a perfect utopia, but at the same time, like, you kind of need that little touch of just, like, chaos to kind of bring, like, a balance into the world. So, but yeah, kind of like, Sailor Moon definitely brings into that gray area. Like, whenever people are just like, oh, Madoka Magica is so dark, I'm like, but have you seen Sailor Moon? Some of the stuff in there is really dark.
That's
Like,
actually
that's
how I
like real
got
quick.
into Tokyo Ghoul, because somebody had mentioned it to me, and I had seen it sometimes whenever I'd be scrolling through Instagram or just online, and I would have some friends mentioned it to me on how it was really dark and all of this, and I watched it, and I didn't see it as dark as much as it sometimes made you question your moral compass on what actions they took and how they did things.
So I'm gonna answer the who's your favorite anime character question because it's question circle. So I have a couple. Tamaki Suo is definitely one of my top ones because he's well, the thing is he's like super rich, but he's also really humble too. Like he doesn't flaunt the fact that he's rich. He's just like, well, I'm rich, but I don't care. Like I want to like be. Yeah, I know. Like I wish I was rich, but also humble at the same time. Where I'm just like, oh, I'm so rich, but I could use my money to like help you out. Like that's the kind of rich that I want to be. And like he's just definitely his character. Like he is like a little naive, but you also see him kind of just like he just connects everyone, especially in that group, and it's just like so nice. He's such a good character. But also Haruhi's a good character too.
Yeah.
So, but another one of my favorite anime characters is, he's kind of an anti-hero too, but his name is Lane Choriard. He's from the show called Albert Nova Zero, which is a huge mech show. But if you like skip through the mech fights, it actually has pretty good plot. But
Why would you skip through the mech fight?
well, the mech fights are really cool too. Like I'm honestly like whenever I watched it, I was just like, oh, I mean, I saw Evangelion and I kind of like the mech fights in there, so I watched Al No Zero, and like the way they animate the mech fights is actually kind of cool too. I was just like, wow, this is kind of like nice. But he's kind of like this anti-hero, but at the same time, like everybody, including everybody in the fandom, well, half the people in the fandom, paint him as like, sort of use him as a scapegoat, and even the show they use him as a scapegoat to ignore the problems of like some of the people. Basically, the show is about there's like Mars and then there's Earth, and Mars is full of like people known as like Verge, but they're still, I guess, technically called Martians to Earth. But well, the princess of Mars goes down to Earth on like a peace thing, and then a terrorist group ends up killing her. That's why I added quotations because I'm not going to spoil it in case.
You're spoiling the whole thing.
But anyways, it's like this whole entire like intricate plot. But anyways, the princess, honestly, in my opinion, despite like everybody says in the fandom, is in the wrong because she chooses to ignore the problems.
See, now you're spoiling it again.
I'm gonna stop then. But anyways, he ends up being this humongous anti-hero, and it makes me very mad because he's such a good character. But the only reason why he did get good character development in the anime was because the creator hated him, and he originally wanted like him to die. So like it's really sad whenever your favorite character is like one that the creator hates and wants to do everything wrong to him.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, it's not good. But probably my third favorite is Sailor Uranus. She's my third favorite. I love her. Which one?
I always forget the
She's the short-haired one. She's the really...
The blonde.
Okay, the yes, the blonde. The prince, basically, but also something else, but I'm not going to say that.
Alright.
I think one of my type of favorite anime is when the person's like half human, half something else, and like everyone hates him, but he's still gotta build himself up and get through it.
Dragon Half.
Like Blue Exorcist.
I was gonna say just like Blue
Exorcist.
Exorcist.
That's especially like half human, half demon anime. It's like one of my favorite types.
Nice.
Dragon Half.
They're hated.
So this was a really fun question to think about. I just wrote my pen, everybody. Awesome.
Nice.
One job.
Yeah.
So pumped about this question.
What anime world would you most want to live in?
Pokemon.
That's what I thought. I was like, Pokemon would be fun, but then I also thought about it, like, while I was thinking, while you were talking, I was like, Tiger and Bunny would be kind of cool, because they have
That would be
powers.
cool. Yeah, Tiger. I just broke my pen.
Yeah. I could be a demon and I'd be happy.
Dang it.
I'd say Blue Exorcist.
Oh yeah.
That's bad. No.
Don't live in the world of Danganronpa, everyone.
No, you don't want that. You don't want to live
I'll have to say Blue Exorcist, the world I want to live in.
That would be bad.
good.
It's be exciting.
Yeah, Blue Exorcist wouldn't be too bad. You don't want to live in the world of Danganronpa.
You don't want to live in the world.
I recently watched that, and while I enjoyed every second of it, I would not enjoy living in a world like that.
The game is way better. Like by
I was gonna say,
far.
other than Danganronpa, Attack on Titan. No.
No,
Yeah.
no Attack on Titan. I would probably
I think she had
immediately,
more
as soon as I saw
airing.
Titan, just be like, LOL.
I would be
But the thing
honest
is,
on
you can survive without fighting the stupid titans.
Yeah, I mean, I probably want to be a part of like.
How do
the
they even
ones
die
that
by
are
them?
closest to the
They're really
politicians, like the
slow.
almost like bodyguard
Seriously,
ones, like.
Well, some of them are, but it's kind of weird.
Honestly,
it's
I
just a
agree
matter
with
of
Tiger and Bunny though
looking
about
at
living in Tiger
some of
and
the
Bunny
other
world.
Titans.
They don't pay
and
attention.
then I missed that.
I think they should have more airing scenes when we Transformers. I'm just saying, they should have more scenes
True, I have horrible
about Aaron
allergies.
when
What
we
am I
Transform.
saying?
Cherry
That's
blossom.
just
No,
like
it's
in
not.
the everyday world.
But Love Live though, like literally, if you live in the world of Love Live, you could just spontaneously like wake up and decide, hey, I want to start an idol group, and then it's like socially acceptable to dance on the rooftop on your school and like practice every day, like. And then it's like socially acceptable for you to break out into song in the middle of the street, like that's perfect.
Dance through cars.
Yeah, exactly. Like dance through cars and dance in an airport and like dance while a plane is launching off. That's like the perfect world.
And just have your van magically fly into the sky
Yeah,
on
true.
episode 9.
So like, in,
Drive
Sword
a
art.
train directly.
I would want to live in a world like Sword Art.
Technically, that's just normal
Yes.
life.
Yes, I am.
No.
Thank you for noticing.
Actually, no. Aurora, which sword art? Is it before or after the fall?
I've only seen season 1.
I've never seen it, so I'm going to step
So
out.
in season 1, you see before and after the fall. You
I
see
think,
before the fall of
I think I'm on
Iron Pride and
episode
then after
12 or
it falls.
13.
I mean,
I've really
anywhere
gotten
in
that
the
far
Pikachu
yet.
world.
I'm not really that far yet.
So before the fall.
Pretty much.
Come on, going on a train into the sky on a rainbow, I think that's the
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you could
We're gonna
argue
do that.
trying to like
Entertain.
have a world with Pokemon since they're based on real animals.
I mean, also, if you think about it, with Pokemon Go, like, the app, you're already technically living in
No, you're
like,
not.
Pokemon.
You're not breaking it.
It's all over.
Yeah, you're
Damn.
Wait. I know the best.
They don't.
Well, people are all the anime.
I want to
You could just choose whatever.
But how,
like,
if you had to pick a Studio Ghibli movie, what movie would you live in?
Live it.
Kiki's on
Yeah.
I would totally want to be like a sorcerer.
I want Calcifer to burn my
Yeah.
bacon.
I want Calcifer to burn my bacon, and I want to like, I want Hal to teach me magic.
Marionette would be cool too.
So much fun.
Yeah.
See, am I the only one that's gonna go like Princess Mononoke?
Like, no,
Yes, you are.
Which one?
Princess Mononoke.
I want to use a sewing needle with a sword.
I
Other
would
than that,
like
I
hang out
that
with
was
wolves and
that
like,
would be
you know, be a forest badass. That would be awesome.
Everything.
Not so bad. The Valley of the Wind.
Oh, that was.
That would be another fun one to live in.
But also Castle in the Sky would be.
That would be a good one too.
That would be very cool.
I feel like every
Parts of
Or the cat
It's one of my favorites.
Cat returns, take down the king.
True.
Even though the dub version, he's just so chill. It's funny.
The Love Live dub is like so bad.
Okay, I actually followed the person that voices Hanamaru for the Aqua one, and her voice is actually pretty good.
I've never watched Sunshine and dubbed.
It's good.
I originally watched it and it was
You can't
really
dub
bad.
Mari.
Yeah, you can't really go shiny.
But there's some characters that are like,
You can't dub it.
That's true. That makes me say, we'll skip ahead. Do you guys prefer subs or dubs?
I actually like it dubbed because I can draw live.
I know. I like to do other things when I watch
Yeah.
things, so
I
I
like
like
to
dubs.
do-
I think it depends.
Watch dub first, and once I finish the season, then I'll do sub.
Yeah.
Because they're both different. So
I
I know what's going on, and then once I know what's going on.
usually I like to listen to dub while I'm like doing stuff because I do a lot of video editing, so it requires me to like focus. But a lot of times I like to listen to stuff, or like if I'm sitting with her, I have to like listen to a dub.
Unless it's something I really know I'm
Yeah.
gonna like,
Yeah.
watch it subbed. But if I like that, then I'm also gonna watch it dubbed too, because that's what I did for Fullmetal Alchemist.
Yeah. And a lot of times I also pay attention to voice actors too, because like in Love Live's case, like a lot of the voice actors, like they're called seiyus, but they're also called they're technically called voice actors or actresses. A lot of times they'll also voice in like other things and like also do like openings and stuff. So
Yeah,
a
if
lot
I
of
like
times,
a voice
yeah.
actor, then that might depend it too.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I think
I would just like.
I really love Todd Havercorn. So a lot of times if he's like in a dub or something, I will listen to Todd Havercorn all day. Like I love him. He is, and like I actually met him in person.
Rayman dub?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna say, because I was like, he voices Alan.
Yeah, he's
Okay.
like, I love Todd Habercorn. I actually met him in person, like, at my first ever, like, anime convention. And, like, he is such of a chill guy. Like, my poor little weeb heart. I was, like, freaking out, because I was just like, oh my gosh, it's Todd Habercorn, my gosh! So I was, like, freaking out, and I was just like, it's my first ever anime convention. He was, like, so cool about it. He, like, took a selfie with me and everything, and I was just like, what a nice guy. Like, he left a really good impression on me. That's why I really like him a lot.
That's why I like the dude who does Kuranosuke from Princess Jellyfish, because I was going through a really hard time, and a friend of mine had met him, because it was his first con he was at, and she told him, and he was like, let me see your phone, and sent me a personal video, like, saying, I hope things get better, and I came to the con the next day, and he was, like, asking me about everything, he was like, you know, they give us pizza and stuff, I don't really want it, you guys want this,
Oh, precious bean!
so, like, I don't know, after that, I was just like, and then he friended me on Facebook, and I was just like, oh, it made me so happy. So he is a sweetheart.
Voice actors are super down to earth. Like, you would think that with like the whole entire like stigma to Hollywood, how people are just like, oh, celebrities are so mean, but they are actually really nice. Like during MomoCon, we actually met the VA for Pidge, but I didn't realize it was them at first.
Yeah.
And I was just like, who is this person standing at her booth, like, talking about her art? And I was just like, wait. And then they did the whole entire like pew pew thing, and I was just like, oh my gosh, it's Pidge. So, but they were super chill, and they actually took a selfie with me too, which they're usually not supposed to whenever they're out on the ground. So I was just like, wow, that's like really chill. So yeah, don't be afraid to weave around voice actors. They are super chill.
That's what I did with Michael back at.
Oh,
J.
that
Michael
was fun.
Tatum is like the bomb. Like,
He's so
great.
nice. Oh my gosh.
I haven't had a chance to meet Vic, but I've also heard like mixed things about Vic.
I've heard mixed things about
He's a
that
jerk.
too.
Greg Ayers is really
I met
nice.
him
Yeah.
twice.
Oh,
Yeah, I heard he's like really mean to his handlers at cons too, because like I actually met someone who helps run a convention in Ohio, and they usually do like the guest handling, and they make sure that the guests are okay and everything. They usually like hang out with them and make sure they get food and everything. And one of their friends was working with Vic Mignogna, and they just
You say he's high maintenance.
yeah.
Yeah.
Not saying that he's a terrible person. He's just high maintenance.
He's very talented. He's just high maintenance.
Yes,
I heard he was
high
very
maintenance.
handsy with girls that he meets, which is also not great.
Yeah.
So since we're talking about conventions, has anybody in the audience been to a convention, an anime convention?
I haven't been to an anime
I was like, wait a minute, I met you at an anime convention. That's a lie. So what are your favorite things about anime cons?
The people.
The costumes. I've seen some online, but I've never been to one.
All of it.
If you want to go to a really good con, go to a
Yeah, take
con.
one of those.
Yeah, take one
It
of
is a
those.
really good convention.
I've been to too many, so I have to say all of them.
I like the cosplayers. Like a lot of times, if you're cosplaying like an obscure fandom, there's usually that one person that's always just all like, "Oh my gosh, I love your cosplay," and it's so satisfying
It
too.
always makes somebody stay.
Yeah.
I saw a costume online. This guy was dressed like a beast from X-Men. He had like the blue skin and
Yeah.
Yeah, if anybody's gonna commit to painting their face or their
I know,
body,
like,
I'm
kudos.
automatically like,
They get a
you're
gold
my
star.
hero. Yeah, like you really outdone yourself.
When I went to the MagicCon, someone actually asked to take their photo.
Makes you wonder what
with
their
me.
shower looks
That's
like after a
awesome.
con.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
Trust me. my
Rule number
shower's
one,
been
please
great.
shower after you're at a convention. That's the most important thing.
Yes.
Body spray does not count as showering. Ass does not count as showering. Make sure you shower, because like it gets really
Yes.
gross
So many
really
people in
quickly
there.
whenever people don't shower. So
Especially,
please practice
like,
hygiene.
My
last
hair.
time.
Oh,
After
yeah,
the
their
meeting,
air
it was
conditioner was
like-
broken or
Oh.
whatever. That was bad.
Oh yeah.
It just smelled. It was just like hot and stank.
And make sure to stay hydrated too. Like that's the most important thing is food and hydration. Like I've got plenty of cons without like food, and let me tell you, I get really grumpy whenever I don't have food, and so a lot of times after like performances and stuff, people will approach me. They're just like, "Yeah, like your performance was great," trying to talk to me, and a lot of times I'm just like, "Yeah." thanks. I gotta go get food or else I'm gonna bite your head off. So yeah, definitely. And also just be considerate too. Like I know a lot of people, especially at bigger cons, I know whenever I went to MomoCon this past year, I was dressed, I think I was dressed in Ellie or some cosplay, and somebody was taking my picture without asking me. And so like definitely ask like to take pictures of people too, because that's like really important, because like if they're in the middll of like eating food, don't ask to take their picture, or else you will definitely probably get the stank face in the photo that you take of them.
Because I
know.
cosplay though, like we were talking, and don't be afraid to cosplay.
Yeah, don't be
Like,
afraid to cosplay, man.
It may seem
Like,
scary, but everyone else is doing it. That's
Oh,
my
yeah,
thing.
man.
Because at first I was scared. I was like, oh no, I'm gonna wear.
It is like so
costume.
mainstream now.
But everyone
like-
else is gonna be like, they're not gonna care. Like it doesn't matter if you made it and you don't like it. People are just gonna be happy that you're cosplaying a character they like.
I mean, just look at us.
So definitely.
And you guys.
Just cosplay. It's fun.
I didn't have time, so I'm just the Book of Dragons.
You're totally.
I wasn't a costume.
You're just cosplaying yourself.
I'm the Book of Dragons.
I'm cosplaying as a teen librarian.
I'm cosplaying as a pumpkin.
Aren't we all?
Aren't we all?
It's like Book of Dragons.
So
Why
speaking of
not?
cosplay, let's talk dream anime cosplay.
I want to
Here we go. Who's your
do
favorite?
disco Luke Skywalker. Especially him with his like little like disco pants he has going on, and like the little tunic he has going on, and like the big hair, like disco Luke. Nah, that's not my dream cosplay. No.
I want to do anyone from Space Battle for Democracy so bad.
Yeah. I think I want to do the Outer Rim Scouts, like all the Outer Rim Scouts from Sailor Moon, because I have the biggest crush on all of them.
I just want to do someone from Tiger and Bunny. too.
Yeah, Tiger
They're
and
fun
Bunny.
too. Or like one of the hero suits, because they're like really extravagant and weird.
Also, Kuranosuke.
Yeah, that would be
It's one of my
fun.
dream cosplays.
And the
so.
white dress would be really tricky.
I feel like I could do zucchini. That's easy. Just braid my hair
So
under sweats.
comfy, though.
Yeah,
There you go.
That's gonna be one. Yeah, no, the one that I really want to do, I think I'm clever, and I don't know, Kaylin like cringes every time I say I want to do it. But since we've got Oron fans here, I want to be the powerful motor that like pulls.
Yes! Please!
Like little lightning bolts like coming off of me. And
I actually want
like,
cosplay as Tamaki, so I mean that would be perfect. And then you could have a Renge with you, and she could be like,
Honestly, I wanted to do Nekazawa.
yeah.
I just want the puppet.
That'd be super fun.
It's not a dream, but it's on my list.
All right, guys. So it's 12:45. I want to make sure you guys have plenty of time to get ready. But do you have anything else you want to talk about that we haven't talked about already?
Genre of anime. So there's a ton of genres of anime. So don't be afraid to venture out into new ones. Like before I got into idol animes, like I was mostly into like the rah and kind of like actiony stuff. So I was just like, I don't really know if I really like idol stuff. And then like I saw people post about Love Live, and then I saw like live concerts of like the like voice actresses and stuff, and I was just like, okay, I'll give it a try. And I fell in love with it. So give idol animes a chance, but also give like other animes
Says
a
she
chance.
who won't give Slice of Life.
Okay, I've seen too many Slice of Life, so I have to take a break from Slice of Life.
Slice of life.
I'm the opposite actually. I'm so used to watching so much action anime like Akame ga Kill and
Oh, I hate that anime. It
We
has
actually just started watching the other Blubber Russian.
it has
anime.
the worst, and I mean the worst ending. It turns out they're not gonna have a season. They're not-
some people don't know this and they don't want to know.
It turns
Hold it.
out.
Because they killed most of their main characters. They're not going to have one. That's to do the remake.
And the Logan's and yell, spoilers!
But yeah, I'm so used to watching things like Akame ga Kill and Tokyo Ghoul, and it was towards the beginning of the summer actually. I had watched a slice of life anime, and like
What was it called?
what if I know? Because I've watched like from the beginning of the summer to this point, I've been watching so many different slice of life animes, and I've gone through so many because
Kakariko one that we watched in here?
no,
Oh, okay.
it wasn't that, but.
Just trying to.
Actually, you know what? That might have been exactly what it was. But I started watching a bunch of slice of life animes and a bunch of romance animes, and I've just kind of been watching it in that mindset since about the beginning of the summer. But now I'm like kind of leaning towards watching slice of life and action. And so if I can happen to get them both together, then it's all good.
In that case, you should probably watch False Love. It's hilarious.
Really?
Yeah. Wait, what?
We're watching
Kenma is my
Kakariko
all-time
Wednesday.
favorite.
Well,
I started
technically, you gotta
next
read it.
week.
It's you can't watch it. If you watch it, it's only in Japanese. You gotta read
Watching
it.
Cells at Work yet?
There was an anime that
Came
I
out this
watched.
month.
Watching what?
Cells at Work.
No, never heard of
It's basically, have you guys watched the movie called Osmosis Jones?
Yes, I have.
seen it.
That's
the thing.
Okay.
It's about the human body, red cells and white cells, always at war, fighting
actually-
bacteria, and it's so
I
good.
think I saw somebody starting a cosplay from it.
It is so good.
I remember looking on my Instagram and I was just like, what is this thing? And they're just like, oh yeah, I'm cosplaying White Blood Cell or whatever. And I was just like,
Watch it.
That's exactly what happened. Is I was scrolling through Instagram and I just kind of saw that and I was like, "What's the name of this now?" That way I
Yeah,
can
the
like,
red cell
kind
girl's
of
so
maybe
cute.
try to check it out.
All right, well, guys, thanks so much for coming to the panel, and stick around because our lovely idols are going to perform for you.
Go there, please.